Raph, I guess we'll follow up on the Francois Legault story, because now the story is not Francois Legault resigning. Now it's who's going to succeed him. I mean, we started to hear a lot of names. We talked about this just the other day. I'm seeing a name here I'd not even heard up until now, and that name is Olivier Primo.
Olivier Primo. So he's well known on social media. He's from the younger generation. And the guy was originally, he became famous for being the founder of the beach club in Pointe Calumet on the North Shore of Montreal.
That's Olivier Primo?
That's Olivier Primo. So he became super famous on social media by going across the province doing reviews of poutines in fast food joints. Now, I see you smiling, but hang on a second. The guy is a businessman, a very successful businessman. And for the past few years, he developed also a podcast on social media where he talks a lot about politics and his ideas. I mean, ideologically speaking, he's pretty aligned with the CQ. He's a nationalist, non-sovereignist.
How do we know what he is, frankly?
How do we know what he is?
Ideologically.
Where he stands?
Yeah, based on his podcast?
No, because he tweets and he talks a lot about politics. He publishes a lot about his own ideas. And he's, I would say, to the center right of the political spectrum, very business oriented, and ideologically speaking, again, I see him as very aligned with the CQ as a party.
I would just say one thing. When you said very business oriented, I just want to remind you, Francois Legault is an accountant.
Yeah,
how did that work out?
The former CEO of Air Transat too.
Just saying.
It doesn't mean he's going to be successful, but still his name is circulating at the moment. Other names that we hear, and the first one to get a support officially from one of the ministers of this government is Christine Fréchette. So she got the support today of Gilles Bélanger. She also confirmed that she was interested. She is the one who replaced Pierre Fitzgibbon as Minister of the Economy and Energy. Big portfolio there, and apparently she is much appreciated from not only her party, but also all parliamentarians in the National Assembly. So she could be a main contender along with someone like Sonia Lebel.
Read her name down. Christine Fréchette is the next leader of the CAQ.
She could be the next leader of the CAQ. Well, she's the first one to get officially support from a cabinet member. So as we know, it's always a question of timing when you want to be the first one on everything. Yeah. And so far, it's going pretty well for Christine Fréchette. She has also, I would say...
Well, I'm going to stop you. You said going pretty well. She has one person.
One person.
But she's one more than anybody else.
One more, exactly. Right, okay. She's way ahead of her opponents. But I would say her advantage also is that she has not been a minister for the whole tenure of Francois Legault. She arrived just a year and a half ago when Fitzgibbon...
Favor, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So she's not very well known, I would say, among the general public, but in this case, it could turn in her favor. Yeah.
I guess we can, I'm going to take a wild shot here. We can rule out Geneviève Guilbeault because the news for her keeps going from bad to worse. Absolutely.
So she received a note, what they call a, quote, notice of bad conduct from the Galland Commission, meaning that she and part of her team when she was Minister of Transport will be blamed in the final report of Judge Galland. So very bad news for her. It's coming at the worst time possible with this leadership race. And another one I want to mention, because his name is circulating as well since this morning, is Christopher Skeet, who was this morning on Elias Mackle's show. I mean, the guy is currently the Minister of International Relations. He was previously the junior minister to the economy. He has, from what I'm being told, very good connections with U.S. elected officials because he went on tour there as a minister.
What would that matter?
Well, in the situation we are facing right now with the tensions with the U.S., he might be the man for the situation.
So funny you bring that up because I heard Christopher part of that interview with Elias, and I heard him say this when we were talking about it. He's also the minister, got a lot of portfolios, right? Mm-hmm. Minister responsible for relations with Anglos, right?
Absolutely.
Who, when talking about
He's
Francois
an Anglophone
Legault,
himself, by the way.
When talking about stepping down, said this.
Francois Legault promised that he would always respect English institutions. I think he did do that.
What?
For instance, I know it wasn't perfect with French healthcare, but he came out very clearly to say, no, healthcare is off the limits. I think he wanted to inspire French Quebecers to be more like English-speaking Quebecers in terms of having that entrepreneurial spirit, being more economical in the way that they do things. So I think a lot of times he was misunderstood, but I understand that in politics you can't make everybody happy, and some people in the English community weren't happy with his policies. I think Quebecers love what we've been doing with our policies.
Huh.
What? No, sir. I mean, I like Chris Skeet. I've met him. I've interviewed him many, many times. Seems like a good guy. I just think that is so far out in the left field, what he just said.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
I understand you have to defend the premier on this day he stepped down, but that's not even... Well, that's not even in the realm of possibility there.
Absolutely. I agree with you there. He was completely off the grid. I mean, at some point, you have also to develop your own identity if you want to run as a candidate. And I think as an Anglophone himself, he might be the one who could change the tone with the Anglo community. He might be the one who could build bridges between this government, this party, and the Anglo community. So I mean, it's going to be interesting if ever he runs. I would also mention something that's important. He could be the first black premier of the province. That's something we could celebrate. Unelected, of course, because he would become automatically premier, but still.
The first black Anglo premier of the province. Did we ever have an Anglo?
A long time ago, but first black Anglo, I would say, in recent history then. But yeah.
All right, I wrote his name down, but it's much further down the list below Christine Frechette.
Let's wait and see. You never know what could happen.
Well, you didn't mention Bernard Dranville, who was asked that question today as well, and he said what everybody else says, which I haven't. What is it? I haven't made up my mind yet. It's too soon or whatever.
It's too soon for everybody except Christine Frechette. Bernardel seems to be interested, and despite the fact that he also received, just like Geneviève Guilbeault, he also received a notice of bad conduct from the Gallant Commission. Apparently, his blame would be less harsh than the one that Geneviève Guilbeault will be receiving in the final report, but we'll have to wait and see. But certainly no good news, certainly for Geneviève Guilbeault, and probably no good news for Bernardel as well. Okay,
let's quickly talk about someone who's not running or planning to run for leadership of the CAQ. That's Mark Carney. He's in China trying to put together a deal. So far, the only deal I see that has been done today concerns dog food.
Dog food, where we'll export more. I didn't even know Canada was a big producer of dog food. Well, we're all learning something today. But yes, very timid progress in China. I would say the only positive thing that I see coming from that trip to China is that the relationship seems to be warming up with the Chinese government, which is after years of tensions under Justin Trudeau. At least we are capable of having a dialogue, a discussion with the Chinese government without too much difficulty. So there's progress. There were 8 memorandums of understanding that were signed today with the Chinese government, but none of them are binding. So the one on energy, for instance, what we hear from the energy and minister in Ottawa is that, the Chinese want more Canadian products. But then the agreements that they signed don't force China to buy more Canadian oil or liquefied gas, for instance. So
they're just open to the idea without specifying.
But, with China, it's a heavy bureaucracy. Things take a lot of time to turn things around. So it's a step in the right direction, I would say, but it will take still a lot of time for negotiations to continue and to finally come to an agreement that will probably bring us some more exports on the Canadian side.
You think it's going to happen? You think we come back with a deal like something significant? Like EVs, for example, to reflect canola and pork?
Well, the thing is, you're talking about EVs. That we have also, we still have some tensions with China regarding the retaliatory tariffs that they imposed on our grains, for instance, canola here, in reply of the tariffs that we imposed on their EVs. So we will have to clear that out also eventually in those negotiations and make sure that we come back to a I would say, sustainable relationship with China. But in the end, Mark Carney's objective is to double non-U.S. exports for Canada's economy, and we need to do that because we know that we can't rely on the U.S. to be a trustable partner anymore, both for trade and for national security. So we need to make progress with other partners in the world. I'm not a big fan of China, I'll be honest with you, but at the same time, I think it speaks volumes of the state of our relationship with the U.S. when a country like Canada has to turn to China.
So you say you're not a big fan of China, and I understand most Canadians, we have not that you need a very long memory to remember Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig, I get that. But when you say you're not a big fan, it's like people saying right now, I'm not a big fan of the U.S., but we still need a trade. And if we had to pick our poison here, can we really afford not to do business with China? Well,
I would rather, at this point right now, I would rather trust China as a business partner than the U.S.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
we may not like them, but we sort of need them. It's the best, worst
medicine we need to solve the problem we have at the moment.
And obviously the Prime Minister realizes that. I realize when I brought up EVs, of course, because that opens the whole jackpot of, well, wait a sec, we're going to do the EV thing and they're going to buy our canola and our pork, and then Doug Ford's going to take, a car and throw it off a bridge because he's really upset over this, right? It's hard to sort of work out a deal here. I don't know what the average. I think EVs now average price if you buy one here somewhere in the $70,000 range.
It's very expensive,
right?
Yeah.
Even if we only put a 50% tariff, not 100%, 50% on Chinese EVs, and they were priced instead of at 25 or 30,000, even at 45 or 50 or 55, that would hurt the industry here. I don't understand how you get around this because we can't produce cars near the price that they produce in there because they're subsidized in China.
Absolutely.
Right? So what do we do?
So Carney has to walk a very fine line here. And at some point, yes, it might hurt some of our industries here, but you have to look at the big picture and what's best for the country. And China is a major market for our exports. I mean, it's over a billion people in terms of population. We cannot avoid China as a business partner, especially in the current circumstances with the U.S.
We will leave it at that. Raph, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. All right.
I'm Luke Wilson. Join me each week for Film Never Lies. We're going in depth on football and a lot more. We'll pull back the curtain on life in the pros and dive deeper into the stories making the headlines. No hot takes, no lazy narratives, just real honest conversations. You can watch or listen to Film Never Lies on all the TSN platforms and iHeartRadio app.